If you've spent years building an incredible career in Europe or Asia, or really anywhere outside the US, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have this amazing executive level experience that should be in super high demand, but every time you apply for a job in the States, your resume just seems to vanish into a black hole. Well, today we are going to fix that. Let's dive in and figure out how to unlock that US job market. And this right here is the core of the problem. It's a paradox. All that amazing work you've done, managing huge P&Ls in Singapore, launching products across a dozen European countries, that's what makes you an incredible candidate. But the problem is, if it's not framed in the very specific way the US system expects, it actually becomes a barrier instead of a bridge.
So what is really going on here? Well, your resume, which probably works perfectly back home, it hits an American applicant tracking system, an ATS, and things just go haywire. The software misreads your seniority, it downlevels your title, it flags your prestigious international university as unrecognized, and tiny little formatting choices can get your application silently tossed out before a single human being ever even sees it.
Look, your resume isn't getting rejected because you lack experience, not at all. It's being rejected because it's failing to get through three invisible filters. Think of them as systemic hurdles that have nothing to do with your qualifications and everything to do with translation and formatting. Let's break down exactly what they are. Okay, the first filter is purely technical. The software that companies use, things like Workday, it's all trained on American resume conventions. So something as simple as a date format, like writing day, month, year, can cause the software to just glitch. It doesn't know what to do. The same goes for an international phone number, a section heading like professional pre-C, or a degree like BTech. These seem like small things, but they can cause a parsing error that kicks you out of the running instantly. The second filter, and this one is huge, is all about titles. A prestigious title in your country can be completely misinterpreted in the US. Take managing director. In the UK or Asia, that's a huge deal, often equivalent to a senior vice president in the States. But to a US recruiter just scanning resumes, it might sound less senior. Or general manager in Asia could mean you're running an entire division, but in the US, it could be mistaken for a mid-level retail job. The system just doesn't know, so it defaults to assuming you're less senior than you are. And the third filter, it's just human nature. Recruiters are absolutely swamped. They're looking at hundreds of resumes, and they naturally gravitate towards what's familiar. Everyone knows MIT or Goldman Sachs. But the Indian Institute of Technology, even if it's the top engineering school in the country, it creates a little bit of work for them. They have to look it up. The same goes for a huge international company like DBS Bank or a certification like Prince 2. It's not malicious, it's just a bias toward the path of least resistance. So, the big question, how do we beat these filters? The answer is what we call a localization framework. And this is really important. We're not changing your experience one bit. We're simply providing the crucial context, the translation layer, that a US reader needs to understand the true scale and importance of what you've already done. All right, first things first, titles. You need to go through your resume and map every single one of your international titles to its US equivalent. A head of department becomes a VP or director. A chartered accountant becomes CPA equivalent. You can put the US version in parentheses right next to your actual title. The goal here is simple. Eliminate any and all guesswork about how senior you really are.
Okay, next up, your companies. A US recruiter might not know DBS Bank, right? But look what happens when you just add a simple one-line descriptor in parentheses. All of a sudden, it's not just a name. It's Southeast Asia's largest bank with 50 billion assets. You've instantly communicated scale and prestige, and you've saved the recruiter a Google search.
And you're going to do the exact same thing for your credentials. Don't just assume the reader knows what a BTech is or that your university is the MIT of your country. Spell it out for them. For certifications, map them directly. A recruiter's eyes might glaze over a Prince 2, but when they see equivalent to PMP, they get it immediately. You're just connecting the dots for them. All right, we've handled the context. Now let's talk about the machine, the ATS. We need to get your formatting right so you don't get filtered out for silly, preventable reasons. And honestly, these are some of the easiest fixes with the biggest impact. Okay, these are the absolute must-dos, non-negotiable. For dates, always write out the month, like March 2023. No numbers, no slashes. It completely eliminates any confusion for the software. For your headings, use standard American terms like professional summary and professional experience. And this is a great tip. If you're applying from abroad, get a US-based phone number from a service like Google Voice. It's a tiny change that signals you're serious and avoids parsing errors. This same logic, by the way, applies to all your numbers. A US recruiter probably doesn't have an intuitive feel for what 350 crore rupees means, but they absolutely understand $42 million. You have to convert every single financial figure on your resume to US dollars. The same goes for other metrics. Use miles, not kilometers. You want your achievements to land with their full impact, and that means speaking the local language.
And now let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the single most important line on your entire resume, your work authorization. If you get this wrong, or if you leave it out, you are almost guaranteed to be filtered out. But if you get it right, you remove the biggest question mark hanging over your entire application.
If you're a US citizen or a green card holder, this is easy. You're just going to write US citizen or permanent resident, green card holder, right at the top of your resume, just below your contact information. That's it. Done. No ambiguity, no questions. The recruiter can now focus entirely on your skills. Now, if you're already on a visa, you have to be super clear. Use this exact phrase, authorized to work in the United States, and then specify the visa type and maybe even the expiration date. And if a new sponsorship isn't required for you to start, make sure you say that. Total clarity here is your best friend. And look, what if you do need sponsorship? Don't hide it. Being upfront is the only way to go. It wastes everyone's time if you're not. State it clearly. By doing this, you're actually doing yourself a favor. You're targeting the right companies, usually larger ones in tech or finance, that are set up to sponsor top global talent, and building trust from the very first step. Okay, that was a lot of information. So how do you actually get this done without feeling overwhelmed? Simple. We've got a concrete 5-day action plan that will turn all this knowledge into a resume that's truly ready for the US job market. I love this because it breaks it all down into small, manageable chunks. So day 1, you just do an audit. Go through and map all your titles and add those company context lines. Day 2, you tackle the formatting. Dates, currency, headings. Day 3 is all about translating your degrees and certifications. Day 4, you write and place that critical work authorization statement. And finally, day 5 is all about testing your work. And for that last day, day 5, when you're testing everything, it's a really good idea to run your resume through a parser to see what the machines see. There are AI tools out there that can help with this. For example, a tool like Pass the Scan is actually built to find these specific international formatting problems, like weird date conventions or unrecognized schools that a lot of other checkers might miss. It's a great final check.
So let's wrap this up. Just remember, the problem has never been your experience. It's only ever been the translation layer. Your background isn't foreign, it's global. And in today's world, that is a superpower. By making these changes, you're not changing who you are. You're just building the bridge that allows you as hiring manager to finally see the incredible value you bring. Now go make sure they see it.